Daddy, is this just like Disneyland? Yes, it's just like Disneyland.
Hey everyone. So, I'm going to do a little series of videos here at the end of the year about shows that I've seen in 2023. Just something a little different. I wanted to do these videos earlier and closer to the time that I actually saw the shows, and I just never really got around to doing it. So I thought this would be kind of like one way to kind of recap the year a little bit. One of many ways. I'm going to have some other videos about 2023, obviously my favorite albums and all of that jazz, but I just wanted to take a minute to talk about each one of these concerts. Because some of them were pretty big. Some of them were pretty big for me. Some of them were pretty big for my family. So the first concert that I saw this year was back in February. It was February 1st in Greensboro, North Carolina. It was Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. And that was before they had released their newest album. So they were still not really touring this record because it came out in 2020. But, you know, it was actually my first opportunity to see any of this material live. Because I haven't seen them since before the pandemic. So, and I've seen Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit 25 times, something like that. This particular show had a little bit of a kind of a special meaning for me. I went with my friend Scott. My friend Scott was who introduced me to Jason Isbell officially. He was the first person that took me to a Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit show back in 2008 or 2009. And we used to see him a bunch because he would just tour like, 280 nights a year, and so he would come through the South very frequently and come through the Carolinas and play 4 or 5 shows. And so we would see him on all of those shows. So me and my friend Scott are really big fans. Also another friend of mine, Robert, went with us. And Robert is the brother of my best friend Marion. And my best friend Marion was a big fan of Jason Isbell too. My friend Marion died last June. And actually the last concert that we saw together was a Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit show. Now, my friend Marion was an interesting guy. He was a year and a half older than me. He was the kind of guy that, like, if he had a vinyl community channel, he would be the dude talking about Kiss and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and all that stuff. Like, he was a big classic rock guy. He loved some metal too. He was a big Iron Maiden fan. We saw Iron Maiden together. He was a rock and roll guy for the most part. But he also loved the Beach Boys and fucking Neil Diamond and, but he actually had a really good knowledge about music and the stuff that he was interested in. And he was very well read up on liner notes and everything. And he would have actually been really good at this, at doing these vinyl community videos. I always say about Marion, I always joke about Marion that music stopped for him in like 1990. Like as soon as Nirvana came along, that like ruined everything for him. He was kind of that guy. Every once in a while, he would like something that was a little bit more modern or whatever. He actually got into the Shins. He really liked the Shins like debut record. Or Oh Inverted World, that album. It's not technically their debut, but yeah. He liked Sunvolt's Trace. So, you know, every once in a while he'd come through, you know, on something modern. But Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, he was a big fan of them and loved seeing them live. And so, yeah, so the last concert that I ever went to with my friend Marion was Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. And this particular concert, not only did my friend Scott go and Robert, Marion's brother, but we took Marion's youngest son. He had two boys. Edward, his youngest son, Edward, went with us. I'll put a picture up. Scott's the goofy looking one. You see me, and then Edward's obviously the young one, and then Robert there in the photo. I actually think right before this photo, Scott had handed his phone to someone to take it for us, and I think he told them that this was my last night out before going to prison. So anyway, this was a very special night for us to be able to take Edward to the show. I honestly, over the years, haven't been as close to my friend Marion's kids as I would have liked. So there was a little bit of selfish ambition in this particular moment to kind of like force myself into Edward's life a little bit more. My friend Scott's actually kind of fallen out with Jason Isbell a little bit over the years. He's just kind of one of those guys where he like misses the old days, you know, like and then the more popular he's gotten, he's started to grow a little bit more skeptical of him. But this is the thing, you go and see Jason Isbell and he blows you away every time. And it was awesome to see my friend Scott just throw that skepticism to the side and just really take in the night. And it was an amazing show. It was just, they're such a great live act. Even if you're not like a big fan, but you like an album or you've heard a few songs or whatever, and if you like live music, go see them. I kind of think that Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit really have the potential to kind of be like the next Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band in a lot of ways. To be quite honest, I actually think that Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit are better live than they are on any of their records. I've kind of always had issues. Now, this is their latest, Weather Vanes. It's a good album. There's some songs that I'm not that in love with. Strawberry Woman, Middle of the Morning, Cast Iron Skillet, I'm not a big fan of. But there are some incredible songs on here still. His song, When We Were Close, is about Justin Townes Earl. Fantastic. The song, White Beretta. This Ain't It and Miles are nice little rock songs that kind of close out the record. But anyway, I didn't really want to make this a review about this album. I don't think it's one of his best, but I do think it's really good, and it has grown on me quite a bit since it came out. I've always kind of had issues with Jason Isbell's records, the production, and the way that they're recorded. He's yet to, in my opinion, really capture what his band is like live. Now, that might be intentional, but it would be really nice if they put out an album that could really capture what they sound like live. They've put out live records. My favorite one is Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit live in Alabama. But he was missing a second guitarist at that time. So there's a little something missing there, but it sounds really good. The show sounds really good. Then they did a Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit live from the Ryman Auditorium, and that one sounds atrocious. It sounds so bad. For a live record, it sounds like a bootleg. I either a really good live album, like an outstanding recorded live album, even if they have to go in and do overdubs and cheat a little bit. I want one of those, or I'm really looking for a record that really captures the way this band sounds live. I also saw their most recent Austin City Limits. Fantastic. Their bassist, Jimbo Hart, actually just left the band. He had taken some time off in the summer, kind of been suffering from like mental exhaustion and kind of mental health issues. He needed to take some time off. And they've been using different fill-in bassists. Anna Butters, some of you jazz guys might know. She's played on a ton of other records as well. She's on the new Boy Genius album. She does session work, playing with other musicians. I think she played with Andrew Bird. Yeah, no, she played live with Andrew Bird. I saw her play live with Andrew Bird last year. So she's on the Austin City Limits. Really cool. I think she's filling in for their upcoming dates. But also Will Johnson has started playing with them, and he plays guitar, sings background vocals, but also they do dual drum kits sometimes, and he plays drums. So if you want a little taste of how good they are live, check out the latest Austin City Limits. I think you can still watch it for free online. But yeah, it was really great to be able to take my friend Marion's son, Edward, to the show. I have 3-4 more of these, I think, to make. And yeah, so look out for those. Hope everybody's doing well. We'll catch you later. All right, bye.
Use me for good. Cover me up. I know you're not to use me for good.
Digital gramophone makes no sense.